And we all four had it, had different reactions. So there you got it, David. I see that we're on live now, huh?
Yeah, it was. I don't know why it took me so long to get it on there. Just couldn't get it would start and then it would stop. I'm gonna cross post it to the group because it's just on the page right now.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, usually guys, well, I know Joyce, Jim's been in one with us. Joyce, usually we don't get a whole lot of people coming in until we get it on Facebook, and then people remember, oh, that thing was today, and then they come join in.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
I don't think I have a
Hi.
volume on.
Yeah, it is. Each one of these that we've had, it is a kind of a delayed reaction, right? So all of a sudden, everybody starts popping in.
Okay, let me get into the group. Once it gets into the group, it's usually pretty good. Share the group.
Is it Keith?
Yeah.
Keith? I'm so glad you could join us. I'm so glad you're feeling better.
Oh, thanks.
and like you were saying, people were recovering from it differently, but thanks for letting us know that some other people hadn't recovered either.
Yeah, no, there's, and I posted when Donnell's brother had posted an update, and then he posted that he had passed on. And in the comments, some of those, there were some other old boys that actually had it. I'm trying to, in fact, there was one, he was class of 1980, and he made a comment that he had been in the hospital. Let's see where that was. Okay, I think I'm on the page. Let me go to the we all four had dating.
So did you really get a memo on the sweater? We talked about it, but I think maybe Christy reached out or
made a comment.
Yeah, it was in my spam folder.
And it said ugly.
So where's your lovely wife?
She's out and about with the daughters. They're doing some Christmas stuff.
That's what I did yesterday. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, so that comment was from Ernie Jones. I think I said somewhere he was class of 80. He said, "Keep fighting. I just got out of the hospital fighting the vicious COVID-19. I'm back home now recovering. I thank God, and I'm eternally grateful for my caregivers. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions regarding the treatment of COVID. Sincerely, Ernie Jones, class of 80." So he was,
80.
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it?
What's that?
You had it, Heath?
Yeah, I had it. I was in pretty bad shape.
It's amazing how it affects one person totally different than another. I had a smoke and a headache for a day.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, and that was it. And I'm like, that it just, but on other people, man, it just really nails them. I don't know. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. My parents actually were like patient zero for their little town or whatever, because they were down in Miami when this whole thing started. I want to say in March, when we really started walking into pandemic protocols and stuff like that. Well, my mom ended up spending, out of 2 weeks, basically 7 days in the hospital, in and out. And then dad, who is a colossal shit show of health, pacemaker, defibrillator, and all that stuff, bother him one bit.
Yeah.
When the hell does that happen? It doesn't even make sense. I don't know. But yeah, like he's like a walking poster child for, I don't know, just a lot. I mean, he smoked way too long. He did finally give it up, but yeah, drank way too hard, all those things, and it didn't touch him at all. I don't know. So, Joyce, you're on mute, by the way. I can't, if you were saying something. Oh, there you go.
Oh, I do sign language, and I put myself on.
Joyce, you got a quick wit.
All right, everybody's cheers.
I'm gonna go grab a beer. I'll be right back.
Thomas, where are you from?
Oh, I'm out in cowboy country in Nebraska.
Oh, I've got a grandson named Thomas Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I thought, what's he doing on here? So,
Jim, that's the one who gave me the sneak-in password.
so where in Nebraska?
I'm actually in Lincoln. I'm in the capital.
Oh, okay.
Salud.
I lived in Missouri after I got out of Kemper, over in Columbia and Kansas City for a long time.
Where are you at now, Jim?
I got back to Texas,
Oh, went back to the motherland, huh?
Fort Worth, yes.
Wow.
Yes, there's the old boy network seems to be dominating seems to be Texas dominating at the moment. So
Got a lot of Texas.
yeah, I was surprised. There was at least when I was there, there were a lot of folks from Hawaii, and a lot of folks from Hawaii and a lot of folks from Texas, and then there were a few from Florida. But Jim, where were most of the guys at when you were there back in the 1900s?
In the 40s. I beg your pardon. Texas and Missouri.
Okay. I wonder when this the Hawaiian group came. You know, it was like I said, it seemed like there were a bunch of them. So I don't know.
Remember there was remember Marcelino, who was from
Haliapi?
Yeah, and he was from Yap.
He was from Micronesia. Yeah.
I mean, he grew up without electricity, without, he was in the ocean living, it's his self-sustaining life. How he ended up at Kemper, I have no idea.
I just remember. No, he wasn't in the commissioning program, but I do remember him showing me pictures of they all wore grass skirts and everything was community property where he was. So he had pictures of I guess his little cousins or whatever, and they were wearing some of his Kemper clothes, and I don't know if I would have survived such a place.
We used to have a lot from Mexico.
Really?
Mexico. Okay, that's interesting.
In fact, there was one or two when I was up there that were high-ranking cadets.
Yeah, we had a couple of legacy guys. Their dads and their uncles had gone there, and they were from Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. They were in the high school. And then we had a guy in the junior college too, but I think his dad had gone there too, back in the 60s.
So in the mid 90s, I was in the high school soccer team, and a bunch of our players were either from Egypt or Mexico. I felt like I was the only white person on the damn team, it was pretty ridiculous. I don't know. But we had some damn good soccer teams, that's for sure.
Yeah, they were. I actually think that's where a lot of those recruitments came from. I think they were athletically driven.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If you think about those Islander guys are not small.
Mhm.
And if they are, they're packed. That was intentional. They were totally loading the athletic program while I was there in the mid 90s.
Yeah.
You weren't there for a
Yeah.
commission, you were there on an athletic scholarship, male and female.
Yeah, that might have been part of the downfall of Kemper. I think was that athletic program.
I think that was,
Well, I mean, maybe a contributing factor, but I think the way of the world was, I mean, when you start talking about lawsuits and the generation we live in and the hovering parenting styles and psychology of parenting, I think there was a lot of things involved with that. I don't want to say one thing per se, but yeah, declining
certainly,
development,
yeah, certainly for the high school students, I could, definitely. I think the only reason people in college went was because they were either in the, in the commissioning program or the athletic scholarship.
yeah,
both.
In
and-
high school, you had to, as far as boarding, yeah,
A lot of that-
it was a change in the parenting.
and a lot of that high school stuff actually helped the college enrollment, the high school enrollment, because that's where some funding was coming from, actual hard liquidated cash. Now the athletic scholarships, eventually you would get that through the federal grants and stuff like that, but it took time back then to obtain that.
Yeah, Devin explained how they were cash flowing the athletic scholarships, and I don't remember what it was 100%, because he worked after he graduated. He worked in admissions for a semester or two, and
Yeah.
there was some kind of federal funding of it somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't remember how it worked.
Well, and neither do I. I actually had a buddy when I graduated and I went into the Army. I had a buddy that had a part-time job helping college students get federal grants. Like, that's what he did. I was like, you have nothing better to do, but he sat there in his computer back in the barracks and helps college kids get federal grants. And I'm like, holy shit. All right, man. You're pretty good at it though. He made some money, I guess, in the process. So whatever.
What do
Yeah,
you got
they
there?
sell them on the grant and then they sell them alone. And then there's that volume you get on the loan, even though they think they're getting the free grant.
Yeah, well, they got a processing
for it
fee
all.
for them to process it. Okay, so you got back then, so this is late 90s. Let's say you got a $3,000 grant. Well, he's got still a $50 to $100 processing fee for that money. So yeah, he did that. He was making a killing. He really was. He was racket. He had a racket going on. So
I don't know how I didn't take out any loans or anything at Kemper, and I ended up, leaving, graduating, and I had $5,000 in my bank account, and I bought a car, but I don't even know where it came from.
Wow.
Well, they were applying for grants on our behalf, and then we had the stipends. So there was excess funds for what they were charging, and there was enough slush that there had to be as part of our program, they had to stipend us for one, and any excess had to be refunded. So those little checks, I know, I thought the same thing. I was like, you guys aren't telling me exactly where it's coming from.
Yeah.
I can't really ask you about the amount.
And I told them, do I have to pay this back? And they say, no, it's yours.
Mhm.
All right.
So,
Do
oh,
I
by
have
the
to pay
way,
taxes on it. They're that figure that out on your own.
by the way, we want you to sign this document called the Standard of Honor. I mean, we're stealing money from somebody, and I have no idea who. We'll just call it the American taxpayer at this point. So,
I don't know what it was. I don't know where it came from. We need to talk to somebody that was in financial aid.
Actually, I did try to resolve after. I was like, I had this weird account balancing, and I tried to sort it out, and for a while it floated around between a New York lawyer and then the city, and then they just kind of didn't talk about it for a while, and then it ended up being back in the hands of the Historical Society of Boonville is holding all the records. So I visited them the last time I was there, Some of the Kemper stuff's on like lock and key, and then some of it's just there in that old place where they hang people. Remember that place where they would hang?
I remember vaguely.
Yeah, I toured it when I was there. The girl she's like, this is, she really was excited about like all the, she's like, this is the last place they were doing hangings. Great.
That was in Boonville?
Yeah, so if you tour the jail, it's legit. No wonder they keep the Kemper shit there. Pardon my language.
I have a lot of interests. That would not be one of them.
I know, right? I remember there was like a sanitarium. Remember that place down like going towards Fayette and I remember we would go in there and try to just get scared. We went in there a couple of times.
Try to go in there before or after dark or when it's getting dark and see who doesn't get lost.
Yeah, that place is freaky.
What the hell?
Did you guys go to that railroad cave?
Where was that?
Just go down I call it the railroad cave. You like go down the tracks a little bit. Along
Like the Katy Trail?
Yeah, along the Katy. And then it was I think it was access. Let's see, it was closed off, but what was in there? I want to say, why did they close off that cave? It was all bricked off, right? You couldn't get in. You could only enter in so many feet.
So they had an old, yeah, okay.
Like it wasn't a brewery. It was,
Yeah, like I thought they were catacombs for a winery, but
there you go. It was something with alcohol.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think it was, and who knows when or how long, but no, I was there 2 years ago and I went to go check it out and like remnants still exist of those. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, I remember like one time I found the same thing much older off the Baja Peninsula, the very southern tip of the Baja Peninsula, like on a remote island. Yeah, it was like very similar to that. And I'm like, how ironic is this that like, I don't know, another thing. And it was just like an underground liquor cellar, so to speak, or whatever. Maybe that's
was that something they used like during Prohibition or something?
It could have been. Yeah, very well could have been, but I think it was probably even older than that. I mean, I think it was like now here's the thing, it was relatively close to the railroad line. So at one time it may have been storage facilities for the railroad track as well. I'm not sure.
That's in cold storage because it's a cave, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's how I thought too. Like I was like, well, we all want to say it was like booze, but it was probably more than booze.
Yeah, it was probably like because anything underground stays between 50 and 60 degrees if you got it buried over like 10 feet or whatever, So yeah, I'm assuming it was probably some sort of cold storage.
I remember there was rumors that there were tunnels underneath the campus. I never found them.
I should have my buddy Dylan on here, and I don't know what he's doing right now, but Dylan and I explored all those caves. And they are
the campus?
Yes, they are real, but they're not caves the way people think they're caves. They were old piped ducting for everything was on radiator because it was boiler heated, right?
Yeah.
They were the pipe ducts for all the radiators. So they weren't technically caves, so to speak. They were just the pipe ducting. But man, we used to, I don't know, one night, I don't know if we got drunk or high or something, but we were doing shit we shouldn't have been doing. And we explored every one of those caves and we were exhausted by morning. It was a night. So yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get bit by
or
whatever.
Where was the access? Like where was
in the administration building in the
okay. Yep. And I guess it ran all the way to the
it went to the gymnasium. It went to every building pretty much.
Because the boilers were in the gym. I remember that.
No,
yeah.
We had a power plant down where the corn club pipe factory.
Yep. It became the pallet factory, and it was over by the maintenance shed. It was all the way towards the river basin, so up north of campus. Yes.
Well, no, this was uh, right down, well, you remember, well, there was a corncob pipe factory, and then it turned into some electric manufacturing, but they produce DC power all day long and heat for the radiators, and then at night, at 10 o'clock at night, the power plant went down and they switched over to AC power, I guess from the city. But I guess that's where those pipes were.
They used to run DC power to residences?
To all the buildings had DC power.
What?
Kemper was self-sustaining. Yeah,
Wow.
it was really interesting. Kemper was completely self-sustaining.
That's crazy. So I guess low voltage. Wow. I've never heard of that.
Well, I'm bringing you up to date.
Man, I'm surprised. I'm surprised all our RSVPs didn't sign in.
I know. I had
What's going
12.
on?
It's the most we've had too. I guess they
know.
forgot. We're live, so if they're watching Facebook, they should remember. But
Well, maybe we sent out the advertising too soon.
maybe I sent a follow up. Did y'all get the follow up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did y'all ever play midnight golf on the golf course? We would go and cross in there, and we had one set of clubs for like 4 or 5 of us, and we go play golf for free. That was fun. Pavlovich, I remember. I think they were his clubs.
When you said that, I thought you were talking about when we'd have to low crawl across the golf course at night and look for the ball as part of initiation crap. I'm like, don't say golf course.
I
Not enough.
remember that. Was that Scabbard and Blade or something?
Yeah, that was Scabbard and Blade. I was actually purging rifles, but I think that was a Scabbard and Blade night.
Oh, okay.
Or it was a double night. Collision, low crawling.
There was another one. There was another
Pershing
secret
rifles?
society.
You know that one?
The Pershing rifles. What was that?
That was the other one. Karina McCullough. She made that one.
Wow.
Okay. Kind of like our Pied
Another
Pipers.
brat. It was just as bad. Just another reason to leave the barracks at night.
Yeah,
Well,
we had
Flowers and I started our own because we didn't get into Scabbard and Blade or Plaid Beret, or we started the Pied Pipers.
Yeah.
And we would get together and read literature and smoke pipes. And I actually have pictures from some of our meetings.
I think we were inspired by the Dead Poets Society or something.
Okay. I would have been there, I'll admit it. This is not a Zoom background.
Yeah, good times.
Good time.
Well, we didn't get to do all that stuff.
They
Of
never
course.
said shit back then.
We were right in the middle of World War II.
Here we go.
There we go.
Hey, Jim.
In 5 foot of snow, both ways, uphill.
Hey, Jim, on a serious note though, okay, so you've seen a lot more years than most of us here, and this has been the craziest year of my life as far as you know, just the
Oh, yes.
just the way it, you know, I mean, was it, you know, I'm assuming like, you know, the 60s were pretty crazy as well. How do you gauge this year to, you know, some of the other crazy years that you've seen?
Well, I haven't had any crazy years.
Mhm.
Living in Texas.
Well, you know, I mean, it just seems like
You've observed some,
Now
right?
this one takes the cake.
does it?
Oh yeah. And we got Ben's iPhone coming.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
Well, Jim, is it taking the cake because of watching how other people react, or just be for yourself?
What?
Well, I'm sure, like,
Who?
I'm sure the civil rights movement had to be something.
Oh, who?
I mean, that had to be something to behold. That was I mean, I don't know. But on the other hand, if you're isolated, you don't observe it the way you observe everything today because of technology.
Yeah.
Does somebody have the Facebook running live on their phone? Because I can hear some feedback or something.
Yeah, I got Ben's iPhone. I don't know who Ben is. What his iPhone's doing.
Hey Ben, are you there? I don't know.
Ben.
I'm here.
There he is.
Ben Baldwin, what are you doing?
What's up, brother?
What are you doing, my man?
Oh, just chilling at the house today.
All
Making
right.
some beer.
All right, well, there's stuff to be done. Stuff to be done.
That's my
Yeah,
beer
look.
going right there.
You look like you got a little hops, a little barley in there. Good for you.
Yep. All
Well-
wheat beer. Just put the hops in. Started to boil about 10 minutes ago.
All right, I'll tell you what. All right. Until I see coiled up copper pipe, you haven't stepped up your game, son.
Actually, right there.
You look like you got a little barley in there. Good for you.
Yep. All wheat beer. Started to boil about 10 minutes ago.
I'll tell you what. Ooh, a lot of feedback going.
How's everybody doing?
Good. Where are you at?
St. Joe, Missouri,
Oh my goodness.
the armpit of the world.
And who's Joel? Joel, sir.
Yeah, great. I've been here once before.
Oh, okay.
How's everybody doing?
Are you looking at the live one off of Facebook, or are you on the Zoom call?
I'm on
armpit
the
of the world.
Zoom call. I couldn't get into the Facebook one.
Somebody's got the Facebook one on, and it's giving a lot of feedback.
Dinner, you got us on speaker, man. You might want to tone that down or put us on mute every time you're not talking. One of the two.
There we go.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Right on, buddy.
So
All right. Thanks for
Ben,
joining us.
when were you at Kemper?
87, 88, and then 80, 89, 90.
Okay.
So I on the college side. I took a year off in the middle and came back. So I was here one time before. I'm trying to think who was. Well, Tracy Green was on the last time I was on, and he was like one of my MS3 instructors when my first year there. But yeah, I just happened to, I was going through Facebook right now and I saw it. I'm like, all right, I'll jump on.
All right. Ben, when were you at Kemper, Ben?
Unmute. You're on mute, my man. You're still on mute. You've been drinking a little bit too much of your own hooch, homie. Mute.
Oh.
We can't hear
He
you.
graduated with me in '99 for anybody that wants to.
Okay.
No.
Hey, who was talking about plaid berets earlier?
Talking about what?
Someone mentioned plaid berets earlier.
Oh yeah, that was me. Yeah.
We
Yeah,
I had
started.
it on mute.
Did you?
Y'all started that?
We started. Rich Wagner, Bill Schreck, Jason Orlick. So it was a counter. It was like a counter movement to Scabbard and Blade.
Yeah, yeah.
We gave it flat. Bill Schreck and I made the guidon in our room in fall of '89, and then passed it on. We graduated '90. Passed it on to what's his name? I've got pictures of it somewhere buried in my computer. I don't know if it made it all the way through till the late '90s or not, but it was this horrible like pillowcase that we just painted like plaid crap all over, and
Yeah.
stuck it on a broom handle. And
No, that was well
I
done.
like
well, it was there.
vaguely
It was there
that
through
being in
'92.
somebody's room.
I'm going to dig around my computer and see if I can find it, and I'll share it and see if it's the same one.
I'm looking
I
for-
like
I'm
vaguely
looking for the
remember
annual
that being in
because there
somebody's
was
room,
a-
but nobody ever used it. Like Papa John. I think it was in Papa John's
Papa
room.
John, that's Matt Papa John, so we gave it to.
Papa John.
Oh,
We gave
okay.
it to Papa John.
Yeah, I kind of vaguely remember that being in Papa John's room when I was a new boy.
What year? Because I think Papa John was in Echo Company at the time. I think he was in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
And so at the time we were in K Barracks, and Echo Company was down the first floor hallway on one side, and Headquarters Company was down the other side of the L. And
What,
somehow
K-Barracks?
in K Barracks, yeah. So we gave Papa, when we graduated, we gave Papa John the flag, or the guidon.
Yeah, he carried the torch.
He might have carried a torch, but he took it with him when he left because
Oh, did
that
he?
wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm
he
gonna
was-
try to find it.
Yeah, Papa John. He hung around. There was a cadet named Ludwig. Ludwig.
Yep,
They were.
yep.
Yeah, they were kind of. I was in charge of Delta Company, and Papa John and Ludwig were in my. Were in my company.
Okay.
Uh,
He was. They both were a bit different.
Yeah, you could say that. But weren't we all? Wasn't that why we were there?
Yeah, pretty much.
We were
Pretty
all
much.
a bit different.
Mhm.
Did Joyce leave us? She must have left us.
I
Well,
see her-
for a
I don't
minute,
see her
I saw
video, but-
Simona kind of. No, there's Joyce.
Simona, you come on.
Well, I saw her for a sec, and then she
Yeah,
she might
she's-
come back.
she's still on there, but I'm not getting any video.
So
And-
did she? So was she in part of the? Well, she said she got commissioned. When did they get rid of the Girls Academy, Kemper Girls Academy?
I think
It was after we graduated.
Yeah, I don't think that happened until right before they closed.
Oh, really? So they still had the. I thought they had gotten rid of the. I didn't think that was a very successful because I was 90 through 92, and 90 was the first year they had the Girls Academy. In fact, it was the second semester, and then I didn't think it was going very well, and I thought they had gotten.
I think it did pick back up around 95, 96 again. And
Oh, really?
actually got a little bit more, movement through there. Interesting, Heath, we had a conversation earlier today where we were talking about the old boy cross versus the actual crest, which is a family crest, but the skirts or the plaid, technically kilts, that the KGA wore was also kilt from the family clan. The plaid was the tartan of the family clan
Green.
of the Johnston family. So not only was the crest the Johnson family crest, the plaid that the girls wore for their skirts or kilts, if you will, was also the plaid of the Johnston family plaid.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So are you from the T.A. Johnson line, Thomas?
I am not. I am T.E. Johnson, but I am not of that line. So that would be crazy if I was. So.
His name was Johnston, not Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It was Johnston. Okay.
And so the families of Johnson and Johnston come from Bannockburn, which is the border between what was Scotland and what is England. So the Johnsons were the English and the Johnstons were the Scottish, but right on that borderline of Bannockburn, Scotland, per se. But it's all like in that same family clan neighborhood or whatever.
Gotcha.
And who knows? At one time it could have been Johnston, and now it's Johnson. I don't know. Not that any of that really matters. I'm American, by God.
America.
I was going to tell you when we were talking about the different secret societies. You had passed on that plaid pillowcase. Well, Heath and I had written out this charter, and we burned the edges and trying to make it look.
I forgot about that. Shit.
And we hid it. We hid it somewhere. So like at the end of the so if somebody, I think it was behind the door, the molding of the door. So next year if they find it, they see the charter and the beginning, and they would keep it going that way.
I think I was just so sick of that scabbard and blade. It's like anyone who got selected for it just became an instant prick, and they just were.
Ain't that the fucking truth?
My roommate guy. So Bill Schreck, we were in so this would have been fall of '89. They're having their little initiation thing one night. We found out when scabbard. Now we'd already started like the plaid beret. So me and a guy named Rich Wagner and Jason Orlick and Bill Schreck got some cars together because they were out on the back towards the golf course to do their initiation in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
And we went out there and we all quietly parked our cars there before they got nearby. We drove across parade field in all of our POVs, right? All of our cars, and waited for them to come out and do the little ceremony. And we flipped all of our turned our cars on, flipped our lights on, high beams, and absolutely just hit everybody off. So then we scattered, and I came back to my room in K barracks, and Shrek and I went in our room, and the door slammed behind us. And one of the individuals he'd ripped the dowel rod out of his closet and was going to come after us with it for ruining their ceremony.
Oh, whatever.
But it was weird. The door slammed behind us, and I don't know how we didn't hit him with the door, because this is in K barracks, so the door goes right up against the wall when you open it. I don't know how we didn't like squish him when we flipped the door open, but no, he was laid in for us.
Oh wow.
And so
did he end up doing anything, or did he?
A lot of blustering. Still friends with him on Facebook. We won't speak of that incident.
Yeah.
I'm looking at my computer for the plaid beret. I can't find it, but I did find pictures of let's see, us throwing Papa John in the lake.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good one.
Oh, the lake wars. I remember that shit. That pond stunk to high heaven.
Is it possible? Can you share pictures here? Or can
You
you?
get that mud on you, and you smelled like that for a week.
Let me
You
see if I
said
can get this.
you said a week, Ben. I don't think it ever. I think I still smell like it. It's been decades later, man.
That might be that upper lip you got there.
Yeah, it could be.
See.
Yeah, Joyce being the only member of Scabbard and Blade, she's awful quiet.
Oh, okay. Okay. So option to be in Scabbard and Blade or Pershing rifles. And I went through enough Scabbard and Blade to not choose to be in it.
Ah,
And I elected instead to be in charge of Pershing rifles.
oh,
Okay.
good choice. Good choice. I'd like to. I don't think anybody on here is a Scabbard and Blade, but I sure would like to ask any of them if their life is any better. if they're any more successful than any of us, or if they have magic rainbows that shoot out their ass. That
I'm pretty
Indubitably.
sure they would say yes.
Indubitably.
Rainbow rocket shot.
Oh,
Hey,
hold on,
they-
I need to adjust my Zoom photos so I can look down on you.
So
Oh,
I'm
look
not
at
sure
there.
how to share this, but that's us throwing Papa down in the lake.
Oh, that's great. That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Hey, wait.
To be fair, I don't think S&B had an equity or gender equity or racial equity plan. So I just, my options were limited.
Joyce, you were way after us, so that's okay. There was probably a lot cooler people then.
Yeah, they were dwindling in numbers. I actually do think, I think actually S&B had less recruits than Pershing Rifles did, and we were only alive for 3 years. People just wanted the option to not.
Well, okay, so, and I don't know if you know firsthand or not, but were they still marching people into the lake as part of the initiation for Scabbard and Blade? Like full dress uniform, shakel hats, everything, in formation, doom, 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 down to the lake.
All I remember is one night I heard a stomp and a drag.
Oh yeah, that's probably the most annoying part of it, right? Was when they come in to get their.
I was like, what the hell is that? I saw them go down and I went back to sleep. I think they stayed up for 3 weeks straight, during their rush period or whatever, because those guys were tired all the time.
Well, we've been sitting there making fun of Jim. Was Scabbard and Blade around with you guys? Or?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
There was nothing around.
Just
The only-
4 foot of snow both ways.
World War II was around.
World War II.
They didn't have time for the. We didn't have to play her hazing. There was real shit going down.
Yeah.
That's why us youngsters need to hush, I guess.
They were pulling them out of Kemper, the Army. Every morning, somebody would be gone. But
Crazy.
they disappeared, but the U.S. Army got them.
Wow. You're just waiting for your number to be called.
Well, I happened to, I had to register for selective service. And I did that in Boonville because I was living in Columbia and I was going through Boonville, and I registered for selective service, and the war was over the next year. And then the Korean War came along and they weren't taking guys with dependents. And I had a daughter. So I skipped all of that.
Did they have a commissioning program back then at Kemper?
No. We had, and I graduated in junior college and there was seven of us
Total.
Oh, wow.
total. I don't, I've conveniently forgotten where I was, my standing class.
Yeah, so you could be brilliant and still be on the bottom 1% of class.
I guess,
I mean, like, I mean, you could be like,
Well, I thought I was.
well, when I was that age, I knew everything.
You're always in the top 10, though. You're always in the top 10.
That is true. You're always in the top 10 of your,
Yeah, I was in the top 10.
not in the top 10%, in the top 10.
Yeah. I should use that, but nobody's ever asked me.
Yeah, man, I think Joel, all those years of picking on Papa John, I'm friends with him on Facebook, and man, he's been ridden hard and put up wet.
I've seen him a few times. I don't know, maybe he unfriended me, but I mean, I used to see stuff on Facebook on him all the time, and then I don't see anything anymore, so I don't know if.
Yeah, he's like a biker and mad at the world and.
Well, I think at some point, though, too, people have kind of, because social media can be so polarizing, they've chose to separate themselves from it. And people who can't just take something with a grain of sand and be like, whatever, then, yeah, it's probably smarter that you do that, for your own mental health.
Yeah.
I used to ride around with Papa John. He just loves to ride, you guys. He loves the feeling of going down the road and listening to his music and taking up space. And honestly, when his car burned down, it was the best thing that could happen. Because it's freedom, be bigger than your car. He's a big dude. Loud pipes save lives.
Bagpipes.
Loud pipes do save lives. I only pull the bike out maybe 3 times a year, but man, it's therapeutical. So.
Man, I'm confused with Ben here, man. The
What's
whole
up?
time he's just been moving. I mean, just
Yeah.
I feel like he's in a
He's
trap.
brewing
or something.
He's homebrewing.
Yeah, you can't sit still. Watching that timer. Got to add my hops here in about 15 minutes.
Have any of y'all seen that show Moonshiners?
Yeah.
Man, I want that. Man, that's
Those are
that'd
my
be kind of
relatives.
fun.
I don't think it's on.
Those are my relatives.
I don't think that's on anymore, is it?
No.
Yeah, it's still on.
Oh,
Well,
it is?
I maybe I'm watching repeats, but man, I really get a kick out of that thing. I feel like I'm there with them. Let's.
All right. I found the beret or the flat. Tell me, is this the same one that Papa John had? This is what we gave him.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
Is this
Yeah.
plaid?
Yeah.
Is this plaid?
Ignore me drinking in that photo. It was like a gallon of wine or something. It was, Kemper.
At least it wasn't the mint schnapps, in the scope bottle.
This one
How about the vodka and the Country Time lemonade? That was great.
Well, what about Jim Beam and Surge? The green.
Green machines, baby.
Hey,
I was introduced to Kentucky Tavern and Mellow Yellow when I first went to Kemper. That was disgusting.
Fantastic.
that sounds like Old Crow and cough syrup.
Hey, you can't beat that old crow, man. That Dirty Bird. Me and Dirty Bird had a lot of time together.
If you have a sustainable income, you can definitely beat it. You don't have to go very high above the bar.
Yeah, someone asked Simona what the KGA drank. They were probably champagne and orange juice kind of gals on.
Long Island iced tea, right? With straw.
I like your style, Joyce. I like it.
Well, I don't think I've been out there since I went out to visit in 91, 92. That was the last time I was out that way.
Where are you at, Joel?
Right now I live in Charleston, West Virginia, which is it's kind of right next to Harper's Ferry.
North
Yeah, yeah.
Kakalaki kid was stationed at Fort Bragg quite a lot. I know a lot about West Virginia.
Yeah, isn't that the only state that has actual Secret Service stations?
I'm not
There is
sure.
there may or may not be a selection process in the United States military that may or may not be
Well,
based
yeah.
on the Western Mountain Range,
Yeah.
West Virginia. Maybe
May or may not.
may or may not be.
I work in oil and gas, and once upon a time I was stationed in Louisville, Kentucky, and we would do operations. We covered the West Virginia, and that's where I was told, and we would go onto these properties, and they would be, in the kind of in the mountains, and they'd wind around, and we were always given these warnings that we shouldn't go away from the path, and Secret
Did
Service.
you hear banjos play in the background? Diddle ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
My family's from the Virginias. Y'all know where have you heard over Mountain Men? Did you ever hear about them?
Mm-mm.
The Battle of Kings Mountain. So the Over Mountain Men, what
Yes.
happened, right, is Ferguson's like, we're gonna get some loyalists and kick y'all's asses. And these people who had never got into the war before, Scottish farmers, my ancestors, who've been living with Indians for hundreds of years, are like, oh, so you are. And actually, they kicked the shit out of that British leader and a bunch of his loyalist Americans, that it turned the tide of the war. But then they went back over the mountain, went back home to Tennessee, etc.
Yeah, what is that? Some kind of rat, Chiquita, or?
What's out?
Well, he looks delicious.
Scares them all.
There goes the mash. Ben's mashing his
Got the homebrew going.
Hey Ben, what are you
Yeah.
doing out there, man?
Cracking coriander seeds.
Yeah, I know. What are you cooking up? What's
Oh, a Belgian wit beer.
okay? All right.
Wow.
Oh, isn't that what White Claw is?
No. No. Maybe that's what you guys drink. You pansy women drink that shit, but no.
I don't
Now,
know.
you ever had a Blue Moon or a Sam Adams Cold Snap?
Yeah,
A hot.
yeah. That's what I've
Garden
always.
House?
That's
Those
what
are all
I've always associated White Claw with is wit beer. Right?
No, completely different.
Speaking of beer.
I didn't even know what White Claw was till a couple months ago.
Okay, we had a funny one last night. I thought I was hooking my husband up, and I ordered this OMSI After Dark. It's like Zoom thing where you get a case of wine or half a case of wine, and then you join the party from home, and they do all these things for you over Zoom.
Yeah.
The wine came in cans. Comes in cans.
Canned wine.
And the effervescence, we find out they actually added into the can as carbonate. And they're trying to sell this as some kind of camping thing. And all of us on the wine call were like, why don't you guys, go to bags or boxes? And the only reason they're doing cans is because in this valley where we have all this wine, they also have hops. And they're just trying to use the same form factor. And it's such a fail. And they charged us $11 a 12-ounce can.
Oh my God.
Bad.
Canned wine. That doesn't sound very good.
It doesn't even have a date on it, right? So bad. So it was fun.
I made wine in Iraq out of Welch's grape juice. just because it was terrible.
Hey,
But it worked. It worked. It was terrible.
So I do
I
have
made a-
bad alcohol, whatever. I do have to say that we have this tradition in my family that we drink Manischewitz at the holidays, whether it be because of my grandmother, God rest her, or whatever. But you know, it's a kosher wine, and it's whatever was blessed by a rabbi or something like that, and that's what they use at communion. And she always thought that the communion wine was so delicious that she wanted it at the house. So we end up vat of like Manischewitz. And of course you could buy like gallons of it for like pennies on the dollar or whatever. It's the most disgusting thing ever. And yet we still do it every year. And we're like, why haven't we fucking given this up? Like, why hasn't this happened? I don't know.
Is it actually wine or is it just grape juice?
No, it's fermented. I don't know if it's fermented intentionally, but it's fermented, you know. So it's horrible. It's nasty. Don't ever do it.
I
It's
tell
just
you
like-
what, though, I
it's
took
like
a bottle
kosher
of Welch's grape juice, 100% juice, added a half cup of sugar to it, put some yeast in it, slapped an airlock on it, and 6 months later, that was a pretty good freaking wine.
So in Iraq, I ordered last time I was in Iraq, I ordered 2 gallons of 100% Welch's grape juice, the Concord grapes, right? Not
Yeah.
wine grape. And my son mailed me some quick yeast. I went and found some sugar, and it didn't have an airlock, but I was able to scrape up a couple of latex surgical gloves.
That'll work. Or a balloon. A balloon
Yeah,
works
yeah,
too.
I had gloves, and they sat in the bottom of my wall locker. We only let it go about a month and a half, but my entire the entire living area I was in, like even outside, it just smelled like a bakery. I mean, you just smell the yeast. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna get caught. And so then I got finally about a month and a half later, brought in a small circle of trusted friends. Hey, we're gonna try this. I got complimented. It was the best prison wine anyone's ever had. But I had to run it through like, I ran it through like 3 coffee filters. I had to run everything through a coffee filter like 3 times because it was just so. It was you could have eaten it. It was like Guinness. You could have like eaten it with a spoon, but ran it through a coffee filter and it was still pretty silty, but it worked. So yeah, there's that.
So this is where I do my segue into substance abuse awareness, and I just say that there are things out there available if you ever need it. just let you know. I don't.
Man, I'm worried about Jim because you know he almost looks like he's just frightened for us, or maybe he's got scarier stories that.
No, you lived in a different era than,
That's what I thought.
than we did, and I visited Kemper a lot when I lived in Columbia and then Kansas City, so we'd go back and forth. So
Jim shared a bunch of good stories with us, with me, on some of the kind of crazier things that have happened related to Kemper, and I'm going to be incorporating those into the podcast. I want to put it, I want to put out at least a one a month, something related to Kemper that maybe not everybody knew or is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
So we're looking for ideas. Give me just a second, and I'll tell. I sent David some good, bad, and ugly. Kemper, one was the Greenlease murder, where this guy from St. Joe murdered.
His name wasn't Ben, was it?
They're bad news. Every one of them.
I don't know, but anyway, he kidnapped the Greenlease Cadillac dealer's son and killed him. And then there was the 7, what was it? The Texas 7.
The
Oh,
Texas
yeah.
7, yep.
And then they came up to Irving, Texas, and killed a police officer. And one of the 7 was a Kemper graduate.
Yeah.
And the one you maybe or did maybe not heard about was Johnny Stampanato.
Yeah, I think I've heard you talk about Johnny before on one of these meetings. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really interesting.
Well, there's the Chicago Tribune magazine had a story on Johnny, and the editor I talked to several times, and my friend here, and he's gone now, but he was a new boy, lived across the hall from Johnny Stampanato, and he was still scared at 90 years old. Because he was a gangster. He was a boyfriend of Lana Turner, a movie actress. And then one of the cadets that I was with was Ted Guy. I don't know if you've ever heard his name, but he was the ranking officer in the plantation. What plantation?
POW camp.
POW camp. And he had John McCain as an officer under him.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, he was a little critical of John McCain.
He was very critical of John McCain. And I saw him at homecoming before he died of leukemia. But knowing Ted, he was a straight air.
Mm.
Hey, who's Mo?
Yeah, who's Mo?
Oh,
What?
Yeah, they got a picture of a puppy.
I
Hey,
do.
Mo, you just asked me if I accept PayPal. I'm like, what?
gotta be one of us. It's gotta be one of us.
I know. Why? Why? Do I owe you money? Or I don't. I'm not a lender, a borrower. No, I'm sorry if I'm ratting somebody out. Who is this? You gotta know if you're that old. You gotta if you're old enough to be here, you're old enough to be harassed. Come on.
Well, I hope we're not getting Zoom bombed, because the one time we were on here, we started getting all kinds of crazy.
That was pretty bad. Yeah.
People from Latin America, I think.
Yeah, but you're password protected this time, so
Okay.
a little bit
Yeah.
different, you know? I mean, I guess unless they
So 89-90. I think there was about 20 Panamanian students, foreign students. They went home for a break. They didn't come back. December 89. December 89.
So what happened? What's the
yeah,
story?
because that was a really busy time for Panama
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah.
You know, I served, I wasn't in there at that time, 10 years later, mind you, but with the 504. And some of those guys were still around from that. So,
Okay.
yeah, before I went off into my other world. So
Wait, 504 MI or 504?
Parachute Infantry Regiment, 82nd Airborne.
Oh, okay, those guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, I finished my world with the 10 Special Forces. So.
Okay. Wait, when they were at Devon's or in Colorado?
Colorado. Wow.
Okay.
Colorado and Stuttgart, Germany, of course. But
Okay, I went to the deactivation ceremony when they left Fort Devens
yeah, what was that, 94?
at 93, 94.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
That was interesting. I couldn't tell you a thing about it other than
Hey,
we were met.
hey, Flowers. I don't mean
Yes,
to
sir.
interrupt. I think you need to boot that whoever that MOM is off.
Mom? You're gonna boot mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably before we get bombed.
Something. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, because I noticed Joyce, she got off, but
Oh, wait,
before she got off, she said that they were asking some weird questions here. So
Hey, you guys, I think, okay, so he's backing out again. I'm going to be out until you identify that person.
Okay,
They're kicking him out right
we're
now.
kicking him out.
Okay.
yeah, Flowers has to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, he got one.
How did they?
I wonder how they got the password. You did miss. There was one. I want to say it was the very first one we had, and we just got bombarded. It was crazy. They were just boom, 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 boom. It was.
Oh, yeah.
No, wait, I just clicked in here. I mean, I didn't have to do anything.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'd been in one before, but it was like.
Alexa, stop.
Well, yeah, but you're a part of the page.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. So there are some levels of filter, you know.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, I mean that way.
Listen, Fort Worth's got to leave you now. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas,
Okay.
Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, thank
Jim.
you. And I enjoy hearing about the 80s and 90s. And it's kind
Well,
of
and we enjoy hearing about
the
40s.
well, I hate boring you.
You're not boring me.
You're not
Well,
boring us.
yeah, so
And I actually look forward to Dave's podcast with you.
oh,
You guys sit down, really hash some stuff out, because that would be a phenomenal episode for not just the Kemper alumni, but for anybody to hear. I'm actually excited to hear it. So
yeah, he's I watched him on YouTube. Money. I forgot who was on there, but
Woody.
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 yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It's nice to have such a smart person down here in South Texas.
Now, don't be feeding his head full of shit.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna entertain that at all. However, I'm just gonna say, you know, at your age, I'm just gonna say yes, sir. So,
All right. See you all. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
See you.
Fine.
God,
Boy, man, Flowers been selling.
Really trying to-
Flowers
really
sold a
trying to
bill
get-
of goods to that man.
Yeah.
What's going on? Holy shit!
We're really trying to find some folks from the 70s.
Were you using like 3 and 4 syllable words, or what was going on?
He was using complete sentences.
I'm trying to take notes, you know.
Can you give us some pointers? It's clear that Flowers wasn't part of Scabbard and Blade, so
No.
Oh my god!
Hey, we got
I just
Mike
got
Scott, come
my
on.
emphysema. Laughing.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Hey man, how are you?
Good, good. What year are
Michael
you from?
Scott.
I remember a couple of you guys. Let's see, I started my freshman year was 91, graduated high school in 95, college in 97.
All right. You were
So I
there with
remember.
us.
How are you, Tom?
I am well, Mike. How are you?
I'm good,
Well, you
man.
stayed the whole time, all the way through.
I'm sorry, what?
You stayed. You were at Kemper all the way through.
6 years, yeah. And
Yeah.
my dad was a alumni from 41. No, when was he? 46 to 49.
Wow.
Legacy.
I got a refill. I'll be right back.
All right. It's like everybody's going to refill.
So I am drinking a double IPA. So what I'm
You're
curious.
drinking again?
No, not really. Not really. But did they take the double IPA from Britain to India and back, or did it go back there and back twice? Is what I want to know. Is like,
IPAs are for pussies.
I got my hipster beer going on, so whatever.
I don't know. I'm drinking Shiner.
Oh, now you can't go wrong with that good old Texas boy. Now, yeah, that a lot of problems have been solved at the bottom of a Shiner Bock bottle. So.
Yeah.
So David, you go by David or Dave Flores?
David.
Hey,
Goes
David.
by
what
Flowers.
Year, it's Flowers. Flores.
No, he calls me Flowers. He always has.
So when were you at Kemper?
91 through 93 in the
Okay.
junior college. Yeah.
You were in. Okay, so let's see. So I guess we were there. I was
Yeah,
in
you'd
high
have
school.
been probably in the maybe 6th, 7th grade, maybe.
No, I was a freshman.
You were a
91.
freshman.
Yeah, it's a 93. Used to 2 years there. So let's see. What was it? Trying to think of who the core commander was my freshman year. Was it Oatman?
Yeah,
Okay. And then what about when you graduated? Who was it? Was it
Flesh.
who?
Flesh. Eric
Flesh.
Flesh,
Flesher. Yeah, I remember him.
who is now full bird colonel in
I saw
command
that.
in
Good for
command
him.
of Fort Jackson.
Yeah, very nice. So I'm late to the party. Joyce Del Rosario, how are you?
I'm good. So we would have been there at the same time.
We were, yeah, we were. You were a year before me, I think. Did you graduate junior college in 97?
No, 96.
96. Okay, so I was your corps commander.
Oh, I recognize your face now. Look at you. Yeah, it is. So
Yeah, I remember that.
you.
Prick.
There you are. Damn you. I saw that twinkle. I was like, why do I know him?
Yeah,
The kid.
yeah.
God, I'm pretty sure he was Scabbard and Blade.
Yeah, we went on a trip. I think we went on a.
We were ragging on you earlier.
He came in a very tiny bit right before we shoot him up.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That was.
Oh, all right. So the scabbard and blade person who, hang on, I can't figure out how to share these pictures on my computer on the web version of Zoom. So one day he was in his room and we did this,
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff.
and then we pulled the fire alarm.
Oh, that's really good.
Is that Hoyer in that picture?
No, John Dyson.
What year was that?
That was spring of 90.
Okay, so in the original picture, who's the guy on the left of the door?
Cortez.
Room 119.
Let me go back. Where? Yeah. Let me figure out how to go back here. Right there.
Yeah, on the left.
That's Cortez.
Okay, and that was 90?
That was 90.
Okay. Charlie Company?
Headquarters.
Headquarters. Okay.
Right around the corner.
Okay. 91 was my newborn year. We moved, I guess that's when Charlie moved down to the first floor there. They put headquarters up on the third floor, K Barracks.
Okay.
And what's,
Yeah, so
what,
when I was there-
what company were you in?
Charlie. My first year was Charlie, and then I got put in Delta for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, and then staff my senior year, and then my freshman year at college, corps commander, and sophomore year college, corps commander.
Huh. Yeah, I was in Delta Company. So
What year were you in Delta?
91 and 92.
Okay, so you had man, I didn't know any of those guys. We were mortal enemies. We were new boys just to survive in 90, 91, you know, and we didn't know any of the other. I mean, it was Lord of the Flies. I can't even remember. I mean, imagine what it was like. It was
Animal Farm in its highlight.
Here's what I had: Bogart and
Bogart, yeah.
I remember that name.
he just retired from the Army as a colonel, lieutenant colonel. Siney Mullins.
No, Siney. Yeah, she was my class.
Actually, I've run into her. I ran into her in Iraq in 05. In this last 17, 18, or in fall of 17, I ran into her. We crossed paths at Fort Hood. She was just redeploying, and I was on my way to Iraq. Bumped into her at the same place, like, holy shit. And if I'd gotten there 2 weeks, if I'd gone to Iraq 2 weeks earlier, I would have been like across basically a parking lot from where she was. I run into Kemper people every now and then. Let's see. Yeah, probably 1, 2, like six I've run into in Iraq in the last 17 years.
So now we're starting to get invaded floors.
So.
Yeah, that's the same kind of stuff that went in. Yeah, the problem with Mullins is she went to Alabama, and I've always had a problem with. I think every year I have to be obnoxious to her on social media.
Oh yeah.
She went to like the college there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have an education system.
Yeah, that's that's up for debate.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I mean, I'm not a judgmental person. By not judgmental, I mean completely judgmental.
And
there's another one.
Hello, boomers. Boomers.
Yeah.
That would be the first time we tried Everclear.
Oh, there she is.
Gamer or something. I don't know how they're getting in.
Have any of you guys been to the reunion since the school has closed?
You bet. Every year except obviously this year, I go just because. Ben, you still there? Well, he's not there. He's Lord knows what he's doing. I see something cooking that shouldn't be, but yeah, I try to pick him up whenever I'm coming through, just to go down and hang out.
That's good. I have yet to return. The last time I went was my dad's 50th, so it would have been 99. And then of
That
course
was the year I graduated. All right.
Yeah. So we went to the Mill Ball. My dad and I came up there back when they did the alumni weekend. That was the
Nice.
So and then that was the last time I was at Kemper. And then I've yet to get back around and kind of fizzled apart. That's with Scott Dobbins, and he's telling me I need to get up there and go to
Old Scotty
to get together.
Yeah, you should. I mean, it's fun to meet and greet. I mean, as long as everybody checks their egos in at the door and like time, you know.
Make sure you bring plenty of liquor.
But yeah, I was gonna say it is what it is, you know. I mean, fuck, it's fun to hang out. So
Yeah.
I went to my first one last year, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did too. That was my first one since I'd been out.
Yeah, my first one was like 2 years ago, I think.
It's sad. It's crazy. It's been crazy that it's been that long.
Well,
Yeah.
Don't feel bad. I've never been to one, so.
Keith had really brought up some interesting points too. Is like I'm raising sons, and my sons will never have that opportunity. You know, they won't. I mean, we lived in a remarkable time. We were extremely blessed, and I don't ever look back on any of that experience whatsoever. I mean, I think it defined me as a human being.
Well, fuck yeah, it defined us.
Yeah, like is how I acted throughout, I don't know, my 20s and my 30s, in an entire military career. I think that was probably one of the coolest things in the world, is having that to back it up on. Mike,
Kemper made us some of the toughest sons of bitches on the fucking planet, period.
Mike, you remember Sean McCaffrey?
Yeah, I remember Sean. Yeah.
Okay, so Sean and I had this weird, awkward moment where we had parallax in the Army. I was walking into the gym, or as he was walking out. I think it was vice versa. I was done with my workout. He was walking into the gym, and we stood and stared at each other. And he's like, "I know you," and I'm like, "I know you too, Sean." Or I couldn't place him. I didn't know his name was Sean at the time, and we had this weird standoff there at the 10th Special Forces Group's gym, and we're trying to figure out how the hell we knew each other. And then he was finally Kemper?
Alexa, stop.
And I'm like, yeah, Kemper, that was it, and yeah, we finally connected 2 and 2 together and stuff like that. Well, he was a captain getting ready, groomed to be a major at that time. And we had whatever, hindsight 2020, I'm training some of his divers later on in his career. And we're talking with each other and oh, you guys know each other. And we're yeah. And we talked about certain things, we went through training. We're our childhood was more difficult than your fucking training is. It's these are simple things, this is, we had to know who we were as a core individual at a childhood, and you guys are trying to figure out this out as 20-some-year-old men. And stuff like that.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. And not that I want to throw my kids to the wolves by any means, but they'll never experience that.
No, you nailed it right there where you said our childhood. I mean, that's the reality. Is I'm sitting here, and I'm in my 40s. I'm like, God, we were kids. We were babies going through that stuff. And, the old saying is I probably love my kids too much to send them off to military school.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, it would definitely help my middle child the most. That's probably just because he's typical middle child syndrome,
Yeah. And yeah, there were good and bad about everything, but yeah, as I'm raising sons, and I'm like, God, I wish you guys would have the opportunity to experience what I did. And there are still military schools, but they don't exist the way we knew them to be. The Lord of the Flies, the all of that, the Animal Farm. None of that exists.
Yeah, I reached out to MMA some time ago, just inquiring, and they're like, yeah, they're not cadet ran like they used to be.
Yeah.
They are all TAC officer driven, and, they have some idea or some ideology of, leadership, but it's nothing, where your own 14-year-old peers and getting you ready for the next inspection.
Mm-hmm.
Or just figuring out
retributions that you balance as to whether I make this decision or not as a young child that follows on into an adult. And yeah, it's interesting. It was just an interesting experience. And unfortunately, we live in a world where those experiences are going to die with people like us unless we are able to pass them on in some way. Whether it's in written word or podcasts or whatever. And it's always going to be difficult to relate to that. Obviously, I can't relate to somebody that went through the Civil War. Or Ewing that was in here. I can't relate to his experience of going through a military school in the middle of a world war. I mean, ever. But likewise, our children will never be able to relate, or the generation that's growing up right now will never be able to relate to people like us.
Yeah.
Different world. That's all.
Oh, I know. It's unimaginable.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking about SEER school. Sean McCaffrey and I were everybody thought that was significant life altering event for 3 weeks of their life. You know, they were like, fucking bitch, please. It was like nothing. It was a walk in the park.
I went through phase 1 new boy training.
I went through an entire year. You know, yeah, your 3 weeks is nothing compared to the 1 year of my life that completely sucked as an adolescent. You know, get the fuck out of here. So yeah, I don't know. It was funny. It was funny reminiscing with him poolside as I'm trying to drown his soldiers. So to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Tom, you were military. Joyce, you were military career, right? Did you
No,
go
after 6.
ROTC?
I got out after 6.
Okay, so you did Joel, and you were military.
Still am.
Still are.
Reserve now, but still. 35 fucking years.
Oh my. David, what about you?
Give it up, Joel.
It's fun. It's still fun. Now, I don't know in the near future, in the next month or so, but it's still fun.
Well, good for you. I'm glad it's still fun.
I left infantry. It got a lot better after that.
That was when the times were the simplest.
It was, I go to schools now and I'll tell people, because I'm always the oldest guy in the class. Like, oh yeah, I came in, I thought I was going to go to Afghanistan. And they all look at me like, yeah, to fight the Soviets. Oh. But, yeah. I'll stick around for a few more years. I'm about to retire on the civilian side from the Border Patrol. Done with that, 25 years. I'm out.
Oh, dear God. Are you down in Texas too?
No, actually now I'm at headquarters in DC.
Okay.
But no, I spent 9 years in Douglas, Arizona, then another 9 years up in on the northern border in a couple different places, and then down to headquarters.
Taught free fall school down in Yuma, Arizona for a while. And yeah, interesting interactions with the Border Patrol down there. So
it depends. I mean, it's like everything else, man. You got the same type of idiots in the military too. I mean, it's gonna, but I had fun with it. But 25 years, time to go.
Yeah.
And I'll go be a reserve bum for the next 3-4 years, whatever, and punch out as a W5 and say, screw it.
There you go.
So Tom, I see Ben's iPhone. Is that Ben who? Do I know
Ben
him?
Baldwin.
Yeah.
Ben?
He's out there cooking sour mash in the process. So you got to kind of give him a little bit.
I'm trying to multitask here, guys. I'm trying to drink my liquor, make some beer, and talk to you guys all at the same time.
You're not very good at
When
it.
are you a woman? Kidding.
So Ben, when were you at Kemper?
I was from 95 to 99 with a year in between there.
Okay. So did you start your freshman year in 95?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
January of 95, and then I graduated in 99.
Okay. So you were at the tail end of the school. I mean, when it was like literally shutting down, right?
Yeah, pretty much 2 years after I left, it was done.
I know they were going through some hard financial times. I mean, I heard Kegris and Salone were driving the lawnmowers towards the last few years just to try to help cut save a buck there for the school.
Hey, does anyone know who got the cannon? I put a bid in on the cannon. I heard that Shane Scott got it, but
it's probably in somebody's backyard somewhere.
Okay, so I bid 8,000 for it because they auctioned it off. It was sold on the side. I bid 8,000 for it, and somebody got it. I wanted that freaking cannon.
Wasn't that on loan though?
Everybody wanted that cannon.
Yeah, I thought it was under the Missouri National Guard or something.
Exactly.
Like
So then somebody scammed me because I bid 8,000 bucks on it, and I'd heard through the grapevine that Shane Scott. I don't know if you guys know that name or remember him. Like, I don't know, 5 generations of Kemper. I heard he had gotten it, but I don't know.
I was able to pick up some, some old Kemper memorabilia off of eBay, just of my dad, photos of my dad when he was there in 49. And I during my time at Kemper, I acquired quite a bit of stuff that he was in and everything. But unfortunately, our house burned down in like 2001, or their house did, and they lost all their memorabilia. So I've acquired some more since then, and I gave it to him. But I told my mom that that's his, and when he passes, I'll put it in my office, and when I'm gone, I'll donate it to the Kemper Museum or whatever historical society we have or there is. So I hope that in the long run, a lot of these items do find their way home.
I'm with you, man.
I've been in it.
It was 2006. I lost everything I owned in a fire. My diploma, all my school memorabilia, everything gone.
It was crazy. I remember coming home. It was a transitioning time. I think I'd moved to Oklahoma City, and I don't know, got my first, was going to college and bartending or whatever. And I remember got an apartment on my own and everything. And I was talking to my dad, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna take all my guns and stuff with me, and I'm hunting up here in Oklahoma City." And my dad's like, "Well, maybe they'd be safer here. Theft is greater there, and a fire could happen anywhere, and the likelihood of one happening here probably slim to none." That weekend, their house caught on fire and burned down, and I lost my uniforms, my sabers, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, I was lucky to escape with my class ring, and I think maybe my chevrons from a uniform or something, and a couple little items, but that was about it. That's all I have.
Yeah, good luck getting a replacement diploma when the school you went to closed.
Man, when I was trying to go to schools after that, trying to get an official transcript.
Transcripts, yeah.
You have to go through like the Missouri Historical Society or some shit like
and they
that.
don't have all the records. They have some records.
No, it was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, they have report cards for me from like 5 different semesters, but no transcripts. And that was it.
But remarkably, somehow I generated some really good GPAs.
How did you do that?
I don't know how. I don't remember having grades that good, but I did. So
I remember transferring out of the JUCO Kemper with 127 credit hours, like a 3.5, 3.7, and they were all completely worthless.
Worthless.
So then I had to start all over, and I got my bachelor's, and now I'm about to start my master's program.
Congratulations.
Well, that's what I'm working on. Right now, I'm fighting with, not fighting, but I'm dealing with WVU, and they're wanting my transcripts from Kemper, and I'm trying to explain to them that, the school doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, I had that same problem because I'm in school right now, and the way I got around it was I did a self certification of some kind that said I graduated high school. Is pretty much all it was. I mean, the State Historical Society will send a letter explaining the situation, which helped, but it doesn't help that much.
We found his records on the floor. They were water damaged, and I want to know, where are all the class photos from like 100 years that were in
So that they are actually obtained at some way, at some level.
I think the museum got some of those.
Yeah, the museum is trying to consolidate all of them. They haven't got them all yet because some of them went out to auction, and stuff like that. And people are like, oh, the class, blah, blah, blah. They are working at trying to obtain all of them. It's a process. It is there. So you got a couple different things going on. You have the Kemper Alumni Association. I wish Dave was still on here, or anyways. So you have the Kemper Alumni Association, and their primary focus is working on the museum and trying to preserve a lot of that history as far as museums concerned. And then you have the Kemper Old Boy Network, which is more focused towards trying to develop some sort of program in the future to sustain scholarships and stuff along the same line and awarding the principles of the relationships that we developed under, and trying to promote future generations and reward future generations for the core values pretty much of God, country, home, and school is the premises behind the scholarship funding. Now that's a very loose definition of what's going on, but it is what it is. So I will say the Alumni Association is working diligently to try to create a historical documentation of what has happened. So.
When I went to the Boonville Historical Society downtown Boonville, near the courthouse, they had anything. So I did get my stuff, my 10 copies by being a part of the Missouri Historical Society of my transcripts. I was lucky. I was a year that they were obviously complete. But other documents that were not related to academic records that would be confidential, like a lot of our newsletters and yearbooks or articles, those are in the archive over there. And I was cruising through them and taking pictures. It was some of the stuff that we were putting in the newspapers, etc. So those are handled at a different archive. So like the memorabilia is being archived at the museum, but some of the papers that needed to be kept more safe from humidity and decay are, and there's only like a few drawers, unfortunately, of Kemper stuff. There really wasn't that much compared to what I would have thought was going to be there. But there's some.
The other hand too is like, at what point, because there was so much infighting, it would have been a lot different if there was like a consolidated group that just said, hey, we're throwing all of our money in the preservation of this thing right here. But there seemed to be like a lot of, lack of better terms, dick measuring contests that were going on.
Well, the guy from Keto came in and reminded us, right, with the 1844 Society, he's like, you guys can finance picking this stuff back up and buying it back, but it does have to be a collective effort. And did you guys see that presentation anybody see that?
Yeah, I was
like there. Reminded us what they got to do that did not happen.
Well, and just like he had said at Wentworth, they learned of all of our failures as human beings, what not to do. They're like, oh, that was a shit show. Let's do something different. They learned from us. So.
Like we can smell that coming. You're not that far away. Yeah, you're right. Oh,
yeah, it was a nightmare. It was. And so hindsight, it is what it is. At some point, what we lost has already been lost, and hopefully we can salvage something along the way. So, without throwing way too much man hours and resources at it. But yeah, if they would have just came in from the very beginning with some sort of agency, company, professionals, that what they did was to digitally automate all of this stuff, we would have been done with it from the very beginning, but they were so broke. I don't know if that was even an asset at that point. So
when did Wentworth fall?
Always
like the year after, a couple of years
Yeah.
after.
yeah,
It was within
It was
like
still
3
in-
tax seasons.
yeah. What's amazing there too is I drove by on the way back from this last reunion, taking a buddy to the airport in Kansas City. Their buildings are still in remarkable shape. Now ours are falling on themselves, or they've been.
Yeah, it's been 18 years for us.
Yeah, completely condemned. But their buildings, there is some sort of preservation of those buildings.
I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the condition they were in our senior year?
our buildings were falling apart when we were there. What are you talking about?
Well,
Yeah.
1844 is a far cry. Compared to other schools, it was oldest in west of the Mississippi. It is what it is. So
Yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was my freshman or sophomore year, but I remember kind of collaborating or cross collaborating with the corps commander at MMA, and we did a couple trips. A couple of us would just get in the car and drive over there and hang out with them. And it was really just a share, a common brotherhood of we're both, cadets out of military school. And I can't remember the guy's name, but he came out to our place a couple times and we went over there, and he would do the behind the scenes tour, and we'd go hang out in his room and, smoke cigarettes, put a dip in, whatever, take a couple shots of whiskey. Things that, cadets doing, but it's just what you do. And, but I remember I was amazed. It's funny you say that, Tom. I was amazed at like how nice their facilities were, and they weren't that much older than ours or younger than ours. You know what I mean? I mean, ours are that much older than theirs. So they seemed to be, I guess they had a stronger financial support system, probably their last 40 years, stronger alumni system, their last 40 years compared to our last 40 years.
They didn't have larger farms.
And sometimes location is everything with infrastructure. I can't really say with Wentworth because they were right on the Missouri River, but just, man, I did a lot of work in the Army down in Key West, Florida, and it is amazing how much water deteriorates everything, whether it's humidity or whatever it is, in Key West, it was salt water. But MMA, you're not on the Missouri River, whereas Wentworth and Kemper, you're right on it. You're getting all of that. So I think I don't know, location, along with everything else, I mean, real estate's real estate.
When they put it out there, right, we were working on Indian Wars. So it was the furthest west you could have a post to start sending troops out of, or people at least like ready to become troops. So at the time it was pretty far in the frontier. It was
but even in 1844, it wasn't a military school at that point.
Right.
So it was just a
great post
school of dudes, I guess. I don't know what they did back then, but yeah. But yeah, you're right. Futuristic, I mean, yeah, even then in you had Civil War, post-Civil War, a lot of that orientation was based around that region. Yeah, especially when you talk about Bleeding Kansas and the Missouri-Kansas wars of the Civil War, and yeah, interesting stuff when you start talking about the Battle of Glasgow and all that stuff. So. Interesting. Mike, where are you at now, buddy?
So I live in Edmond, Oklahoma. I guess
okay.
Oklahoma City. I think I've been here for, I don't know, since I left Kemper.
Sooners or Cowboys?
Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good man. I like it. All right.
They're too much fun. But no, so I met my wife probably 20 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Something like that. 17, 18 years ago here. And then we got married and, raised a family, just hanging out, doing our thing.
Still raising family, I take it?
Yeah. Yeah. We have it seems like we have a child for 7 years. Got one in college, got one in high school, and one in elementary school. So yeah. I'm the eternal parent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got that right. I did my own 20, 15, and 10. And then my young sister shows up and she's got a 3-year-old. And I'm like, I was done.
Yeah. So Tom, what are you doing now? You're out of the military, I take it. What are you doing now?
I am a little as possible, less if I can get away with it. No. I'm a general contractor.
Okay, very cool. What about you, Joyce? What are you doing nowadays?
I'm a writer.
Explains the library, right?
Admitted.
To it.
Very good.
What have you wrote lately, Joyce?
Anti-propaganda.
Okay.
I am in Portland, mind you. We have a lot of anarchists here.
No, I.
Media. So lately I've been working on reminding people they have access to civic engagement and not to let a bunch of rioting assholes take it from them. So mostly like helping interpret civic protocol so that it then can get out to like the masses, right? So writing for the public.
Awesome. I was gonna say, I might follow up on that if you don't mind. Writing. I was gonna say who knows?
Yeah.
But we could use always good person of strong literature, I guess, so to speak. I mean, yeah, to write some of the experiences, even including your own and stuff like that. Not a lot of people can do the words, so to speak, or well written.
Really does take a team though, right? Like, I mean,
Absolutely.
you have an editorial team and a production team, and then you'll have people like me who might be your content generators or your primary researchers, right?
Yep.
On the delivery side, but even between my research and content generation and delivery, there's a lot of professionals who get in there.
Well, you know, like Dave was talking about podcasts and stuff like that, and even those podcasts are very well scripted. You know, I mean, they are what they are. I mean, you listen to Joe Rogan, or one of my favorite podcasts is The Dollop. It's by far one of my go-to pastime as I'm working on whatever job site or whatnot. But very well scripted before they even go in. You know, I mean, like to do the podcast, they know what they're going to say. The content's there. It's already been researched, and they're ready to go with it. So, yeah, I don't know. I just thought, well, God, I don't know. Even if Dave, I think he was being a little ambitious when he was talking about a podcast every month, but maybe every 2 months, if you could get somebody involved, you know, and just be like, hey, let's try to script this out, know what questions to ask, how they're going to answer, and then how to rebuttal that before we even go on any further. I don't know, just a little, thing. Hey, Dave, welcome back.
I had a brisket in the pit. I had to go take out.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, my man.
Hey guys, I'm gonna head out, but I just want to say thanks. I was trolling around on Facebook and I saw this was going on, and I'm gonna try to join the next one. Maybe I can drag my dad on here, and he can tell some stories back in the 40s. The Kemper. He's got a lot of good stories. But I just want to say it's good to see you guys that I went to school with. Those of you that I just met for the first time, it's nice meeting you. And good to be a part of this. So look forward to the next go around.
Colonel Scott, good seeing you around, man.
Happy holidays, friend.
You too. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that brisket cut and ready. So I'm gonna head out too. We'll see you guys. Good talking to y'all.
Yeah.
Good meeting.
And I don't mean to dime you out, Joyce, either, but I was just gonna say, if you can help by any means, even if it's just input.
I think people can smell your volunteer call coming, and they're like, "I'm out of here before."
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, I guess.
I got. You can tell where we all went to school.
I got something to do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't mind participating. I don't mind participating in capturing actually historical content. I love to be able to help people get chunks of those stories collected.
Mm-hmm. You know,
yeah, my great grandmother, she got to help interview all the octogenarians at the 200, the bicentennial anniversary. And so anyone that was over 80, she got to interview them about what it was like to be over 80 when the country was turning 200 and all that oral history. And just now, right, that stuff is going to be, they're trying to put money into converting those oral tapes into digital content that's available. Right now, you got to go places and ask permission. But it's actually even just the current interviews being looked at later about the way that we ask the questions and the kind of questions we do or do not becomes very telling about society's values.
Well, I think up until recently, we asked open-ended fact-finding questions, and now we ask very manipulative questions in the modern day cycle. You know, it is what it is. But I think the open-ended fact-finding questions are the only approach to take to anything, versus now we try to sway our answers by the way we ask the questions.
I guess if we're trying to go for the truth, we use our open-ended fact-finding approach. If we're not looking for the truth, we may have a different way of presenting a question.
Yeah, exactly. So it is what it is. So that's what I'm really. Then before we dive down too far into this, is like, oh, maybe we can explore how we ask questions or what we're asking for information on, and that you by far have far more experience than somebody like me, and stuff like that. And maybe we could find more interesting content if we asked questions in a certain way. So I don't know.
I can help be a content generator and send some stuff that maybe David would like to see or other people would like to see if it was be deployable or usable. I can help share that kind of stuff. I'm always doing my own research anyway.
Cool. Yeah, it's just the hard part is just getting people to commit. Getting people to say it. And yeah, once a month I think would be a little ambitious. But I think if we can get a few good conversations going, and build up some of the interest, and have some people call in. Have a call-in line. Where somebody can, they can call in and just share a quick story or quick, comment or something. Because that stuff, I think, is really what builds community. Is when you get people calling in, at the end of the show, and they're sharing, a story or sharing a memory or something. The podcasts that I've heard, that's where they've been most successful, and community really gathers around that kind of thing. Because you start to have kind of regular callers, right? And you start to recognize voices, and come up with funny monikers and funny sign-offs, and that just people just like that. So yeah, if we can get something like that going, I think it'd pick up steam.
We pick up a fireside chat, like with a Roosevelt theme to it, once a month, beginning of every month, or every month, or whatever it is. Fireside chat. This is who your podcast is with, and blah blah blah. I don't know what the right day would ever be. Whether it's a Sunday after the first of every month or whatnot.
Joel, were you gonna say something?
What's that?
Were you gonna jump in, or were you grabbing your glass?
Oh, I was grabbing my glass.
Oh, I saw your hand moving. I thought you were volunteering.
Oh, no. I've learned not to do that.
That's something we think we all learned. Never volunteer for anything.
When you're in the Army, I think it's voluntold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was Sloan, voluntold.
I see that hand go up, and I'm like, "Oh, you want a job?" Like, I'm just reaching for my glass. I'm like,
No,
I don't.
I'm retiring. No more jobs. I'm done.
Yeah, I think actually, those topics of honor. I mean, or the topics of just the standards, right? And how the values. I think those are really great topics to explore among generations. Like for the same generation to talk about what were their examples or lessons on that particular topic, and to allow it to be a call-in, right? To give them some forewarning opportunity to share on that. I think our interpretations on how the honor code would, or how that, because that would be really different over time.
How would you incorporate that into a large picture, Joyce? Like, I mean, I'm thinking like if we were to span generations, would we do a compare contrast with that, where you would try to work your way, like try to find a couple people from the 40s, 50s, work your way up, and then do like an episode of contrast and then an episode of comparison, or do a comparison contrast altogether? Or how would you, I mean, some of that, the content dictates everything, obviously, but how would you conceptually perceive a method to go about that? as a writer?
Well, so for the audience, if they're looking to seek connection, and then if my value as a writer is honestly to capture the stories that are expiring and going away the soonest, I would honestly go for as old of a story as I could get, and ask for my younger audience to participate in that research, and for them to present some questions so that I can get that intergenerational dialogue happening. I actually put a lot of onus on the audience to be interested in their topic in advance, to have a demonstrated interest and investment in that research, so that I know they're, what they're coming in for. So definitely would do a survey. What are you interested in? Like, what do you consider connection, or what are you curious about? And then I would be I'm going to highlight the hardest to access people first.
Mm-hmm.
Just because right now, if we have to triage the missing history of this membership or group, in triaging that, what are we about to lose that we can never get back again?
Yeah. I think, just having conversations, I think, is maybe a first step, and introducing the question, like, can you think of a time, like, where you were in a position where you had to remember your where the standard of honor and your understanding of that played a difference in how you made a big decision in your life? Because I can think back to at least 3 in my life, and just see what comes from it. And then we can kind of, as we're listening over time, maybe come up with a compare and contrast, episode. It's just getting people willing to talk about those things. And you got to be a good interviewer, to get people to do that. It's a tough thing. What I did with Woody on the one I did with Woody is I just had some questions, wrote up some questions, send them to him, and he said, sure. And so, he's a real honest, open guy. So, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. But it's finding interesting people to talk, and they're willing to, to talk to is a little harder.
And then with those interviewees, we want to, because of the type of audience we have, we just want to make sure there's kind of a media toolkit that can go around that interview, right? So further research or parallel topics or conversations. So that's what I'm going to say about as we do things in this environment, as opposed to just sort of like a general keynote speaker where you're going to get a feel for that person when you're in the space with them. We have to do other things to make that speaker come alive and to make them dynamic to the audience. And so it does take a little bit of research about their platform and how that particular talk could both personally fulfill them in what they're sharing. Like, it really is something that's on their heart to share. They feel nudged to share, but also for on the receiving end, that people can take that and find some way of integrating or connecting. That way we can just build on that rapport and bring them back in, and maybe they feel a little bit more comfortable and more safe making an offering of their own. A lot of people feel not safe.
Yeah.
So Joel, a quick question that you had, and I don't know if it was answered because I went to the bathroom, but
No problem.
the two main cannons are located at the Missouri National Guard headquarters in Jefferson City.
What?
Yep. One in
Now, was that the cannon that we fired off every night, or are those the
the actual
that were down on the football field?
The one that pointed at the president's house.
yes. Yes.
There was 2 of them.
Not the operational howitzer, but the 2 old style cannons.
Okay,
yeah.
So what the hell
I
did
was
I
thinking about the operational house.
No, those got folded back into the military use because they were actually operational howitzers.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, those were probably on loan or whatever. Those were probably a part of the ROTC program.
I wonder what I bid on now, though.
You probably on the original like Civil War style cannons ish.
Civil War, maybe World War II.
I think didn't they fire those at graduation?
Yeah, the World War I style. Yeah, I'm sure they did, but they had to be very careful about how they did it.
I was talking about the Civil War ones that went from the admin building pointing towards
At the president's house. Yeah, I know what you're talking. Right by the flagpole.
Those are the ones that are at the headquarters or whatever. And
those are the ones I thought I bid on, like back in 2004-ish.
Maybe these people, maybe this organization, maybe they outbid you.
Well, okay, so what Nigerians?
One is one is at the tag office and one is at the military museum at the National Guard headquarters. Is what they're saying in Missouri. So
Nasty girls.
All right, at least Shane Scott didn't get it.
Are they actually on display? I don't know that though.
One of them would be at the museum. The tag office is going to be right outside the building. So yeah, I would assume like not too many people drive by the tag office. So whatever.
All right. Well, I think hopefully we pick up a little steam and things start to pick up again. You know, COVID we were planning a get together up in the Dallas area, you know, back in March when this whole thing hit, and we couldn't do it. You know, we wanted to do where we're going to go out to the shooting range and have a bunch of old boys get together and you know, fire some you know, weapons and then go eat some barbecue. But yeah, COVID ruined it, and just the physical stuff right now, I think until we get this thing under control is going to be hard. So we got to focus on virtual stuff. So hopefully we'll pick up some steam.
And even when that does happen, we almost have to start focusing on regional chapters.
Yeah.
Certain military organizations do, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, PAC Northwest chapter and SoCal chapter and that kind of deal. Just because the geographic separation, so to speak. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. Obviously,
yeah, that's been the intent all along, is to get, you know, somebody that's interested in manning, you know, a geographic location, and you know, just do a get together, you know, once or twice a year, and you know, just to keep the old boys together, and hopefully you know, begin to try in some way the real goal is to try to you know, not just fade silently into the night, but to try to keep some memories for posterity about, you know, the school, because we're dying, and when we are all gone, you know, there's not going to be a whole lot left.
True that.
Don't go gently.
Yeah.
Gently. Good night. Not that good, but I gotta go. You guys.
Yeah, me too. All right, guys.
Adios.
It's been fun.
Nice meeting you, Josh.
Adios.
All right, we'll see you guys.
David, where are you in Texas?
San Antonio.
Oh, okay. All right. So if I was going to move out there, it would be that area.
Yeah, there's a lot of ex-military in the area, a lot of bases out here, a lot of job opportunities if you're looking to, you know, get some work. A lot. I mean, it seems like that's all you see around here. So definitely a military city.
Yep.
All right, hey Tom, I'm gonna hand you over the control here. I'm gonna head out.
Okay, sounds good. I think I gotta leave here fairly shortly too.
Okay.
Yep. My wife, I told my wife, oh my God, Kemper guys are on. I have to go meet with them. I said, find a movie on Netflix. I'll be right back. That was how long have I been here?
Yeah, it's quite some time now. So
yeah.
So we're at in the DC area.
So right now I live in Charlestown, West Virginia, which is right by Harper's Ferry.
Yep.
All right.
I worked in and out of DC for quite some time.
Okay, so I've worked right in the Reagan building on Pennsylvania Avenue.
Okay. Yeah.
And
All
then, but I'm actually, right now I'm assigned, I belong to our headquarters in the Reagan building at Federal Triangle, but I actually work in Sterling. Of course, since March, except for riots and traveling around the country, I've been working on my basement. So
Okay.
that's pretty much, I went off to Oregon, or I went out to Portland earlier this year, went to DC for all the riot, stupid bullshit.
Yep.
Nah, pretty much other than that, I've been stuck in my basement.
Well,
Yeah,
it's a bad place to be
that's it, I'm
stuck.
I'm punching out. I'm done with this shit. Especially, honestly, man, especially with the incoming administration. I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm not going to sit around for the witch hunts, and I'm just done. I'm out.
Yeah, drop the packet, man. Be done with it. Yeah.
31 December.
There we go. Yeah, drop the packet and just go on about your business, my man. So, and what branch?
Army.
I know that. What branch?
Oh, MI.
Okay. All right.
Well, first 10 years infantry, the last first 10 years infantry, the last 25 have been in counterintelligence.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Yeah, it's so I got out in the Obama administration, and that's when I had enough. You know, I was like, okay, about the end of that, I was like, we're done with this whole rigmarole, and it's time to go on and seek life elsewhere. But the last 4 years have been interesting, though, because despite what you think about the man, good nor bad, it's been very direct, concise, to the point, get it done, get the hell out. So in that point, I can't necessarily disagree with a lot of the direction. You know, I'm like, oh God, that would have been nice to be a part of that. You know, I mean, like, once again, have a little bit clear, concise direction, and we could get stuff done and leave, you know, and just be over it. But
that's because you served under an actual politician.
Yeah. And then,
well, so Iraq at 3 different times, 3 different deployments to Iraq under 3 different presidents. And I got to say the last one in 17-18 was the only time we were there to freaking do business.
To do the job and go. Yeah. I mean,
we talked to Russian contractors. No, this last time we had what we needed. We'd ask for stuff. It was there. There was zero bureaucratic bullshit. It was screw with ISIS, and it was screw ISIS, and well, some other countries that may be involved in those areas west of Iraq.
Yeah.
And it was very
Syria.
straightforward.
Without saying anything on Zoom. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah. Yes.
I didn't pick up on that hint.
Yeah. No, it was very clear and concise, and hell. And now I'm looking at this thing where we're probably going to recommit troops at a higher level into Afghanistan. And you're just like, why in the hell can't we just leave?
Split fighting the climate.
Because war is profit.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Well, it's only profit to some. It's not profitable, but
no.
Profit.
No, I didn't say profitable. I said profit.
Yeah.
War is profit.
Yeah. Anyways, digress.
I digress. My bad.
Yeah, digress. Anywho, yep. Well, Joel, it was good meeting you, and we need to keep up as well. Hopefully you can make more of these, and I just kind of got worked into this whole situation here. So hopefully we can do more of these. We would like you to be in more of these.
Shit, I was busy making my beer. Sorry, guys. Where the hell did everybody go?
Oh, they had
Yeah.
some things to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who was it that started asking for volunteers and like everyone went poof?
I was.
Oh, that was you. Okay, so it's just you.
What
and
do you want volunteers for?
Well, no, I was just talking about the preservation of our history and a little bit of like stories. So we're talking about putting up podcasts, that kind of stuff.
Sorry to make you repeat, dude. I just got busy there.
No. We're talking about like trying to do. Dave wants to do like a monthly podcast, which I think is a great idea. If Joe wrote a weekly podcast or bi-weekly podcast, if like people, why can't we produce a monthly podcast? But that still may be a bridge too far. But if we went every 2 months on a podcast with an interesting person, hopefully working from the back our way forward, and we can start preserving some of this history and our experiences at Kemper, or maybe we do a show where we have an old and a new podcaster going on. But the bad part about that is between the questionnaire, the more recent student needs to like kind of be muffled as the more senior student. It's an interesting dynamic how you conduct interviews, and that's its own thing, but I was going to say, hopefully we can come up with some cool ideas to try to generate some content interest in the preservation of what we all know. So
This is going to sound a little corny, but I'm going to go with it anyway. As long as one person from Kemper is alive, our memory will always be there.
well, it will, but we lose a lot of the stories along the way, and
Of course we do. Shit, we've lost, you and I have lost just in the last 20 years, probably 100 different stories.
well, I lost a lot of brain cells in the process, but I think
I gotta wait for some of the stories. You gotta wait for to make sure people are retired or out of politics.
Yeah.
Or,
So some of those are very true. I mean, some of those you have to kind of kowtow or curtail, so to speak. I mean,
Censor, you mean?
yeah. Or and I thought about that the other day, even with my children. I'm like, I post a lot of really weird stuff on Facebook, but nothing really politically oriented because that's not who I am as a human being on Facebook. But I will dime people out occasionally, more frequently than not, on being moronic. But I'm like, at some point, is that going to affect my child's life on how I do just even random posts? And I try to make sure I'm clean in whatever way. But I'm like, dear Lord, the way the world is, there is a footprint that echoes forever in eternity. And yeah, they may look at my child for said job 15 years down in the future, but they'd be like, who raised this man? Or whatever, and it's like, these are actual real things I guess I need to worry about now. So
We've got privilege because we're white.
yeah. Well, see, I can't say stuff like that because that might actually imply something future. So, yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, but interesting. But yeah, I was going to say, the more interest we can get in the system, whatever.
That's the key right there. How much interest can you get?
Yeah, well, I'm a pretty charismatic man.
I know you are. You always have been.
So who do we get? How do we get Mr. Ewing to start? I've only been on one other time on one of these things. I keep missing him, but Ewing was on the last time also, and he's the oldest guy that I've seen here, and his experience from talking the previous time, completely different than probably what we went through. Because we're within 10 years of each other, right?
When did you graduate, Joel?
90.
90. Okay, yeah. So yeah, 5 years.
Okay. So I think a lot of your senior college that if you came in, someone said they came in 91 or 90, 91.
Yeah, I heard some 89s, 90, 91,
Yeah.
94s.
So yeah, there would have been. I was talking about Matt Papajohn earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was in 8th grade when I got there. We gave him our flag for the plaid berets, which we started to counter Scabbard and Blade, just to kind of give him the middle finger, basically. And it was all in jest, but some people took that shit seriously. It was
Yeah.
But it's just I was surprised when somebody said I hadn't joined on this conversation yet. I was trying to figure out how to do it from my phone, and somebody mentioned plaid berets. I'm like, holy shit! I'm a plank owner. I started that shit. And I had a picture of the plaid beret guide on in my wall in my room because
if it makes you feel any better, Joel, I think the Scabbards and Blades died by our, I want to say junior year, maybe sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really just like everywhere else. My son is in he's in his 2nd year at WVU right now. He's in ROTC. Scabbard and Blades just a military honor society. But the shit at Kemper, they made it like this fucking secret.
Yeah, I don't mean it died altogether. I mean it died at Kemper, like by our. I remember hearing about it my freshman year, but after that, never heard about it again.
Yeah, but they were just so
pricks.
They kind of ruled things.
Yeah,
and
not kind of. They did rule things.
Yeah, so that's why we, like I said before, we started plaid berets, and we'd just go fuck with them all the time. We'd do little initiations and stuff. We'd go out there, like we driving all our cars out on the freaking golf course and lighting them all up with our high beams in the middle of their secret ceremony when they didn't realize anyone else was there. Fuck that.
Yeah,
it was just something to do.
Well, just like we were talking to Mike Scott earlier tonight. Interesting. His dad, he said, was a student in the 40s. So we're talking like late 40s.
Yeah.
But he was our age. So first of all, let's talk about who perspective.
Well, he was a little older than us, but
he was. But let's talk about the father-son relationship for an interview. It would be great to have both of them on the podcast. Talk about one person's experience versus the other. But let's just talk about the difference between the two men. Like, so you're talking, let's say he graduated in 49, which would have made him like, let's say 18 at that point. He would have been middle 50s and still popping out puppies.
Yeah.
I mean,
because he would have been my grandmother's age.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, and so because Mike is like a little older than us, but it's still in there. Like, I mean, this man is like in his mid 50s, still having children, and then sending them to school in his 60s and stuff like that. So it's a different it's a different world they lived in, so to speak. I mean, like there
was another second
generation. Raise children in our 60s anymore. We just don't. I mean, like,
no.
You should be.
Good Lord. Could you imagine that?
Having kids right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I don't want to do that. No.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I'm out.
Having a newborn? No.
Fuck.
In my 40s?
No. 50s. Can you imagine that?
But these are different men. So you're talking like two totally different philosophies on life at that point. I mean, philosophical outlook, so to speak. I mean,
yeah, it'd be cool to get them both in a room and quiz them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm raising.
There was another guy that was there
right
when we were there who was the second generation to go there. I want to say his last name was Cohen, but I can't remember for sure. But I think his last name was Cohen. And his dad went to school there as well. And I haven't heard or seen.
I think we might have had some third generational ones too. I do, if I recall right. There were some third generational Kemperites in the 90s.
I had two different roommates, both Bill Schreck and John Rhodes, my freshman year, and one of the guys my sophomore year. Oh, no, 3. And Bill Schreck, John Rhodes, and Eric Prout. They were all 3rd generation Kemper.
Yeah, and see if they're still alive, and if they have any of their lineage still alive, that would be awesome.
That'd be cool. Yeah. Get them in a room and just see what's what.
3
Yeah.
generations spanning from, let's see, so I was there in the 80s up to 90s.
I mean, just
Going
go,
back-
when we were there, and alumni would come for alumni weekend. Alumni would come for alumni weekend, and hearing their stories compared to our stories, and we thought, man, man, things have changed.
Yeah. There was so my sophomore, so spring of 90. I don't know who the guy was. He showed up. He lived in the same room that I did in K Barracks, 105. He showed up. He just wanted to hang out in the room.
I think I was in that room my freshman year.
Did it have an anarchy symbol gouged in the floor?
Yeah.
That was me and Bill Schreck with a chem light with a one of those little glow sticks.
Flashlight. Yeah.
We cut it open and didn't realize it actually would freaking get into the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
But anyway, this guy shows up. He just knocks on the door. It was during one of those alumni weekend things in the spring. And he just wanted to sit and hang out in the room. And we're like, and I don't remember the guy's name. He graduated in like 80. This was 1990. And he handed my roommate the keys to his Lamborghini and just said, hey, just go run up and down I-70. Just give me like an hour to hang out here. I just want to sit here.
Nobody did that for us. Shit.
So we jumped in this freaking Lamborghini and ran between the 2 exits for Boonville, like doing stupid. I mean, now I'm like, it's absolutely stupid. I'd kill my kids if they ever did shit like that. But just so this guy, whoever he was, I don't even know his name, but he had been in that room, graduated in 80, and just wanted to sit in the room because he hadn't been back and just hang out in the room. So he gave my roommate the keys to his freaking Lambo. And we like, oh yeah, sure. We took off because I was driving like a Dodge Omni at the time. So yeah, Lambo. I'll cruise around in that shit.
Now, just imagine there is nobody ever to trade that story with.
Yeah. I wish I knew what that was.
Nobody that can relate. I mean, nobody that can relate because there's no kids at Kemper anymore that you can tell that story to, that they can imagine what it would be like to have some dude show up to their room and say, hey, here's my Lambo. Just leave me alone. Let me, and get out of here. Go to the gas station. Go whatever. Go grab some whatever. Go to ice cream. Or something like that. Try to cruise up and down Boonville and pull some tail. I don't know. Just give me my
leave me alone.
Yeah.
Because you just want to hang out in some shitty ass cinder block room for an hour with a hasp on the outside of the door.
Yeah.
It was a shitty ass fucking cinder block room, but that was our fucking home, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was our home.
But how many memories were tied to that one single room? And I don't know. I mean, you're talking like in the 80s. I don't know. Hell,
thousands.
That could have been the first room we ever got laid in. He may have pulled some out of Boonville, and maybe that was his little memory lane. I mean, you don't know. I mean, like where he remembered what could have been.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, like who knows? Who knows that dude's story? And if we don't say those stories, we're never gonna know those.
I wish I knew his name. I mean, I have no idea who the guy was. Just some old boy that showed up, alumni. Here's the car keys. So we just
I want
left
to
him there.
digress a little bit. All right, so another cool little I don't know what you call it, little fact for me is I've worked at the same company for the last 4 years, and is owned by a Kemper alumni.
Oh, really?
I worked for
That's
Tyson
cool.
Foods, and Don Tyson went to Kemper.
Yep.
Yeah, he's dead now, but it's still
Right.
what he has built, what he built, and what his family built is it's a conglomerate, man. We're the largest producer of food in the world, and he's a Kemper alumni. That just
Yeah. Where
blows
now,
my mind.
Where do you live?
St. Joe, Missouri.
Okay. All right.
Missouri.
Wow. Up in Wentworth area.
Yeah, about an hour and a half from Wentworth, about 2 hours from Boonville.
Jesse James country.
Yeah, where the Pony Express started and Jesse James ended.
Yep.
That's what they say around here.
Let's
I'm not
keep in
from here.
mind
That's
that-
where I live here now.
Let's keep in mind that Daniel Boone was where Booneville was named after, and they didn't even spell his last name right.
I know, right?
That's true.
They forgot the E at the end of it, and I'm like, oh boy. That's where I got my education from.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
But to me,
Well-
going to work every day, it's a point of pride that I work for, a Kemper alumni, even though he's dead. But to me, it's something special, I guess you could say.
Guys, we're
I
gonna
don't know.
get photobombed here.
I've been drinking a little bit.
You're not alone. Who's Andy?
I don't know, but he's gone. Yeah, I think we're getting ready to get bombed here. I think
Andy
that
with
You
the
know how
Boy
that
Scout-
happens, right?
Boy Scout emblem.
it's spam.
All right.
You know how that happens, right?
Well, yeah, kind of with the algorithm and stuff, but this was pretty private. But
Hello,
Oh,
it's
boy.
private, yes, but how many people in our Facebook groups are actually Kemper alumni? Do we accept everybody, or because I never filled out a questionnaire, about Kemper when I joined the group. So how many people are in that group that don't actually belong, and they can actually see when we go live
yeah, true.
and copy the link,
Yep.
which was what I did. I copied the link and I went to Zoom and I pasted it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this Andy guy, no Kemper alumni would come in here with a background from the Boy Scouts of America.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
not even going to comment on that.
I'm not a warrant. I was never a warrant officer in intelligence, and I spotted that one. Like, it just
Yeah, I
is what it is.
spotted it, but I was leaving that completely alone, dude. That's
Yeah.
dangerous territory right now.
All right, boys, I'm gonna have to get out of here. So I'm
All
gonna.
right, my brother.
Hey, we'll take it easy, and
You have a good night.
see you guys again.
All right. Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Good
Love
to
you,
meet you,
brother.
Joel. All right, later, Ben.
Man, I think I'm out of here too, man. My
Yeah,
wife's-
I'm out. I got to get
Cheers.
dinner doing.
You get beer.